having a good day. I'm here to show you what I've been sewing, and I have so enjoyed getting back into sewing. It was about a month without sewing, and although I was having an amazing time on my honeymoon, I really missed it, and I didn't realise how much I missed it until I started sewing again. So I'm really excited that I've made 3 new garments. This is the first. This is my Coco Jacket that I made out of the fabric that I got in India, and I absolutely love it. It is so lovely and bright, and it's just, yeah, so nice to have something in my winter wardrobe that is so bright, because you need it. You really need it. And it's got black in the back of the fabric, so it goes with loads of things that I've got. So I'm wearing it today. I'll show you. I've got it on with some skinny jeans, and I'm wearing a vest because I'm inside and I don't need to worry about temperature. But I think if I was going out, I'd probably wear a long sleeve top or a thin jumper or something like that. When you're wearing the Coco Jacket, one thing you've got to think about is the neckline, and wearing something with a neckline that's higher or almost with a V-neck, it can kind of fight against it. So I tend to wear them with a scoop neck, a low round neck, or even something slightly higher, but as long as it's not higher than this, because then I find that that line is ruined, and that really bugs me. It's a little bit maybe OCD, but that's how I think that works. Anyway, so how did I make this? So this is basically embroidered fabric onto silk. So yes, it's embroidery that's embroidered onto silk, so very fine silk, so it wasn't particularly strong. So I decided to mount it. So what I did is I cut all my pieces out, and then I cut them all out again. The second fabric was a cotton lawn, so just a relatively fine fabric, and I stitched each piece onto the cotton lawn. So I took my embroidered fabric and individually stitched them within the seam allowance. So the seam allowance for this jacket was 1.5 centimeters, so I chose 1 centimeter, and I just stitched them so that they were strengthened with the cotton lawn, so sort of essentially backing it. So it takes a lot longer, but it means that you've just got a little bit more structure to the fabric, and for a jacket you do need structure. And I also thought that it would last longer then, you know, having that extra layer in there would give me a little bit more wear out of this jacket. And then I lined it in just a regular lining. It's spotty! Very excited by the spottiness. I decided just to go with something black because I didn't really want to do anything too wild and exciting on the inside because there's so much going on outside. So just a nice soft acetate lining, not too structured. And yeah, it works really well. Now the jacket, the Coco Jacket, what we do in the class is we sometimes use the selvage to put it around the edge. So if you're using something like a boucle tweed or a really lovely Chanel-y type woven fabric, then often the selvage is quite pretty. So you can trim the selvage, and because it's kind of got little frayed ends on it, and you can stitch it all the way around by hand. That one looks nice, and 2, it basically keeps the lining on the inside, because there's no understitching that we do on this. But because I didn't do that on this, what I did is I just did a little hand stitching all the way around. So I don't even know what kind of stitch I was doing. Some kind of back stitch, but a little stab stitch and a back stitch. I can't even tell you what I was doing, but it was basically going in and catching the seam allowance of the embroidered fabric, and then keeping the lining so that the outer fabric was rolling to the inside, so that the lining was definitely staying on the inside. You're going to get a flash of lining, but I didn't want it to be so that the lining was curling on the outside. I'm not being very articulate there, but it basically gives it a much nicer finish, a much crisper finish. Now, the downside to all of these wonderfully bright ideas that I had, note the sarcasm, is that it's a little bit tight on the arms. So, because this fabric is quite thick because of the embroidery, even though it's not strong, it's still quite thick. And then I also added the interlining, so the cotton lawn to it. It's actually quite tight on the arms. Yeah, So it's okay, it's fine, but it is a bit stiff, and I did actually have to let it out. So I tried it on and it was really quite tight. So I let the seam allowances out a bit on the upper arm from the elbow upwards. And so it's much better now, but there is absolutely no way that I'll be wearing anything thick underneath this, because there's just no room. But never mind, lesson learnt. So those of you who have made the Coco jacket in our class, and if you're ever making another one, just be careful of that. Make sure that there's plenty of room in your arms. And those of you who can't get this jacket, like always, I'll always put a link to it, to the class or if we do sell the pattern, I'll put a link in the comments. But it's not available, but it will get released. All of our classes will get released. That's how we roll. So we basically release them as a class, and then we will eventually release them either as a PDF or a PDF and a printed pattern, depending on what we think is suitable. But this is quite a simple construction, so I really think that a lot of you would be able to make this, and it can look so different. I've got it in a like a sort of lightweight wool, and then I've got it in a very Chanel-y boucle tweed, and then I've got it in this. And I'm thinking, I bought a couple of other fabrics from India, and I'm thinking I might make another one for spring. So I'll make sure I make the arms bigger that time. So anyway, first make, this was a big one. It took me quite a while, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely going to be wearing it a lot. So yay! Yay for a new jacket in my wardrobe. Okay, on to the next one. Number 2 is my Eve dress. So this was an experiment. This is currently just a class, and our Eve dress has a fluted sleeve on it. And so what I wanted to see is, what if I change the sleeve and put a 3/4 length sleeve on there, so that I could wear it in the winter and with a cardi or something. And I think my experiment worked. Slightly tight there perhaps, but it's really comfy. So what I did, so I took the Eve dress pattern, which, because it's got a fluted sleeve, it's got a really big armhole. So, and it's quite a low armhole, because the sleeve disappears into sort of, there's no sleeve right at the underarm. So it's sort of 1920s fluted loveliness. But if you were to put your cardi on, it'd be like a big bulge there. So it's not practical for in the colder months. So I wanted to put a regular sleeve in, and I looked at the patterns that we had, and I decided that the pussy bow blouse had the most similar sort of armhole. It was quite loosish fitting, and so I basically traced off from that, and I wasn't sure if it was going to work and whether I needed a smaller armhole, but I didn't want to go to something like the Betty or the Joan that is very tight and fitted here, because this dress isn't tight and fitted here. So I laid it over and I traced off the shape of the pussy bow blouse armhole, and therefore raised this armhole up and made it a slightly smaller curve. And then I took the pussy bow blouse sleeve, and I just tapered it a little bit, because it's quite a loose sleeve. So I just tapered that to just below the elbow and put it into this dress, and that's what I did. And there's a little bit of tightness here. I think this may be, this is not what we would do if we were if we were going to do this and release this as a pattern. We would obviously develop it and draw a proper sleeve block just for this dress, but I just wanted to try it out and see if it worked as a design idea before we invest time into getting the fit right of the sleeve. And I don't know if you agree, but I think it works. I'm sorry that I chose black, because I know black does not show up really well on screen, so I'm sorry that you can't really see the details, but I'll show you the dress. So it's basically a wrap dress, and it's got a really pretty detail here. So it's got a tiny little yoke, and it gathers into there. So there's no bust dart. The bust dart has been moved into these gathers. And then it is bias bound, so there's bias binding down the neckline. And then it fits into, so there's 2 ties, and it just wraps over like a simple wrap dress. And then it's got a kind of Spanishy feel to the hem, because it goes down at the back, So that's really quite pretty. And I was tempted to just straighten the hem off. I think I told you guys I might do that. But I decided that that was what made this, what was a really lovely design feature of this dress. And whilst I could do that, I didn't want to lose it for this version. So I left it in there. I think I'm wearing it with my vintage brown shoes, which I love. But I think my tights are too dark. So it makes me look a little bit funeral-y. And I think I need to get a lighter denier tights. But this luxury crepe is perfect for this dress, and I'm so pleased because we've got it in loads of other colours. So now that I'm happy with this, I'm definitely going to make myself another one in another colour. I just have to choose which colour. But it's great, this crepe, because it doesn't crease, and you know I hate creasing. So I know that I'll be able to wear it to work, in and out of the car, getting on the tube, whatever, and I'm not going to arrive at work in a crumpled mess. And it's a really nice length, it's really elegant. And I definitely think this is something that would take you, what do they say, from day to night, from work to weekend. Definitely something that you could dress up for the evening, or you could wear it to work. And I think most offices, this would be okay for offices. And also just put on a nice glamorous necklace or something, and you could wear it to a party. So I think she's a winner. I want you guys to let me know what you think, because we have already decided on the two first patterns that we're releasing as printed patterns this year, and they are dresses. And so we're working on those at the moment. But the third one is still up for grabs. So let me know if you are desperate for it to be this one, or if there's another one of our classes that you're desperate for us to do next. Because basically we want to give you the patterns in order of popularity, what you want to have next. So if I get loads of people saying, I need the Eve dress, then we will go with that. Likewise, if we have loads of people saying, I would like the 1940s wrap dress, another wrap dress, then we can go with that. So just let me know, whether it's on Instagram, Twitter, email, or even just in the comments below. But you can check out the original version of this, the Eve dress. You can see that in the comments below, so just have a look and you can see what it looks like with the fluted sleeve. And yeah, I mean, if you like, oh Lisa, I'd be really interested to see what it looks like with this type of sleeve or a short version, let me know. I'll just knock it up. You know, I don't need to sleep. I can just sew through the night. No, but seriously, I would happily make it up because you know I love sewing. Number 2 is also a success. I'm very pleased. Okay, the last one. Number 3 is the tulip skirt. Ta-da! I'll give you a whirl as I go round. There she is. So, this is the tulip skirt, which if you have signed up to our mailing list and also or follow us on social media, you'll know that this pattern is now released, has been released, and it is now a downloadable PDF, so you guys can make one as well. And this very fabric is also online. I will put a link to it in the comments, so you can also get this fabric and make this exact skirt if you want, and then we can be skirt sisters. Anyway, this makes up perfectly. This Ikat fabric is great for this. I'm going to stand up, so sorry you can't see my face, but you can see the skirt, which is the most important thing. So it makes up really beautifully. It's the perfect weight. It's quite lightweight, but it's got enough structure to it. And I really love this. Yeah, I think I've got lots of pencil skirts and lots of full circle skirts. And this is somewhere in between because it's not overly fitted, so you don't feel like you're completely on show, but it is still a cute little shape. And you can make it really long, so the pattern comes to the knee, or you can make a little short version like this, which is be cute with little ankle boots, or maybe even knee-high boots, and it's perfect for winter and perfect for summer. This skirt I reckon I will definitely wear in the summer as well as wearing it in the winter. I have lined it, can you see? I have lined it because I wanted it to work with tights, and when you make cotton skirts, if you don't line them and you're wearing tights, they kind of stick. but it also gives the skirt a little bit more structure. So the lining that I chose was like an acetate lining, which was probably mostly used for jackets, so it's a little bit stiffer, but it's really, yeah, it's perfect. It's working really nicely with this. I didn't bother with the pockets because I tend not to use pockets in skirts so much, and I'm also aware that that would have taken longer and I didn't actually have that much time. So this skirt I made last night, which was a Sunday night, and I was quite tired. So I made it in about 3 hours, and if I made it with pockets it probably would have been an extra half hour to an hour. So I figured I don't need pockets in this one. And I also machined the hem as well on this, which I don't normally do when I make this skirt, but I feel like because it's cotton you could do a really nice fine pin hem and it's fine. So I did that. It's not massively offending my eyes. I am normally one for a hand stitched hem, but I think that's fine. I'm reassuring myself by looking at it. Anyway, I think it's cool. I really, it's cute, and I think it's been amazing. So many of you already bought this pattern, so I cannot wait to see your versions. Things to be aware of. How to line it. Yeah, so basically in the instructions, we don't tell you how to line it. So it's not essentially a lined skirt, it doesn't need to be lined. But if you want me to do a video on how to line it, I can. Essentially, you're just making the same skirt again in lining, and then you're placing them wrong sides together at the waist seam and stitching them, and then putting your waistband on. So there's nothing particularly complicated about it, but if you'd like me to run through it, I can do a video for it, because yeah, it's nice to be able to line it if you are going to make a cottony fabric and then wear it with tights. But if you were making it in just like a wool, so for example, Rio crepe is beautiful for this skirt. It's just such the perfect weight. You don't need to line that, it's fine. So yeah, you can probably guess fabrics that are going to stick to your tights and they're going to need it. Or if you have got a particularly fine fabric, something that needs a bit more structure, the lining can give it that. So yes, so 3 makes and they've all been a success. Apart from my slightly tight jacket that definitely can't put any weight on my upper arms. Oh dear. But yeah, really pleased with them and so nice to get back to sewing. I don't know if you've noticed these lovely daffodils here, but this is the most exciting thing of this time of year. When I go into the supermarket and I see that they have started to sell daffodils, and yet I feel like we're quite far off daffodils in the UK right now. But the fact that they're in the supermarket means they are just coming around the corner. And once daffodils are out, that means spring is just around the corner. And I know those of you who watch this from the East Coast of America, you guys have had such a horrible time with weather and blizzards. And you know, it's coming into February. February in my mind is possibly the worst month weather-wise. And so daffodils are the things that get me through it. I have them everywhere, in every room, just to cheer me up. And also they're really cheap, so you can just pick up a bunch for £1 and they can brighten your day. So guys, what am I going to go on to do today? Well, I'm going into Islington. I'm going to be interviewing a couple of teachers today because we're looking for new teachers. And I'm also going to finish my Wren dress. So my Wren dress, the Colette Wren dress was my pattern to review this month, and I've almost finished it. So I've got to finish that and I will be reporting back to you guys. So tune in next week to see how I got on with that. That's it for now. Remember to let me know if there's anything you guys want to hear from me. Check out the comments below where I'll put links to all the various things I've talked about, fabrics, patterns, classes, and you can find our social media links down there. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. That would be great. Thanks guys, I will see you next time. Bye!